Hey guys, George here from the F1 Chronicle, and the Austrian Grand Prix has been concluded. What a race this was. This is going to be a hugely controversial one in this season, and yeah, I'm here to try and summarise things as much as I can by bringing you 5 things that we learned from this race, because for those that haven't seen the race, it was incredibly spicy and controversial to say the least. So let's go through the most notable events during this Grand Prix. So the first thing is that, if you've not seen the results, spoiler alert, George Russell managed to win this Grand Prix this weekend. I did not ever see that coming, and for the vast majority of the race, it did not seem as though he was going to be able to do that. It seemed as though it was going to be a very much a two-horse race between Max Verstappen and Lando Norris, but for reasons that we will get into very shortly, don't you worry, we'll talk about what happened between those two. But the important thing for George Russell is that, he took advantage of those two coming together, and he managed to get his first Grand Prix victory of the season, his second Grand Prix victory in his career, Mercedes' first win of the season too. That is now 4 constructors and 5 drivers that have got a win so far in 2024. Not so bad. I mean, this comes in the wake of me doing my video about how Formula 1 is not quite as competitive or as unpredictable as what it should be right now. And here we are in the first race since I made that video, and we have an incredibly unpredictable result. Never saw that coming in a month of Sundays. But yeah, so let's get into what else happened. So great for George Russell, great for Mercedes. They're on the comeback, like I've said many a times. I said they're the third fastest team in the sport right now quite comfortably, and I think this proves it. This absolutely proved it. They were the fastest aside from McLaren and Red Bull this weekend. But yeah, let's get into what else happened. So Alonso and Aston Martin, extremely poor. Oh my goodness me, they were bad. I mean, we've highlighted them in the sprint and the sprint qualifying for the 5 picks for those as well, but this was particularly bad for him and his team. Just a terrible move that he put in on Guan Yu Zhou. I don't think there was any malice in it. He just could not stop the car. The brakes locked up. He ploughed into the side of Zhou. Zhou was all right, relatively continued, but yeah, 10-second penalty for Fernando Alonso, all the way down in 18th today on pure race pace, pretty much. Shocking. Lance Stroll not that much better in 13th, so yeah, things looking very worrying for Aston Martin. Also worried this race would have been Alpine as well. A bit of a civil war going on between their two drivers, as we covered many times. They do not like each other. They do not get on. Pierre Gasly managed to get a point today in 10th place. Esteban Ocon down in 12th. But how these two did not make contact during this Grand Prix, I have no idea. They were both absolutely throwing some elbows in there during this race. Some very, very intense battles between the two of them. I mean, Ocon's not going to follow any kind of team orders. I mean, I've already given my thoughts about how I think he's, to be honest with you, a bit of an idiot really in that car. I know it sounds harsh, but I think he absolutely is. But this time he managed to not make contact with his teammates, so kudos to him. And Gasly ended up getting a point, so not a bad day for Alpine, but definitely a few more grey hairs sprouted for the team on the pit wall during this one, I'm sure. Yes, so fourth thing we've got. Actually, no, I'll do it as the last thing. I will mention Haas next, because Haas had an incredible result today. Nico Hülkenberg up in 6th, Gavin Magnussen in 8th. I did tip them for a good result this weekend, just because historically this is the best track on the calendar for them. They got the highest place ever finishing, 4th and 5th place back in 2018. Seemed to go really well around Austria, and they kept their noses clean. They were very good around the circuit this time. But yeah, both started in the bottom half of the grid, apart from Hülkenberg, so he was actually 9th at the start. But yeah, Hülkenberg went up to 6th, Magnussen on 8th, beating a Red Bull for good measure too. Very impressive, great result for them, and they are absolutely they're in a real shot with getting that 6th place in the Constructors' Championship. Absolutely. So the thing you all want to hear about, Lando Norris and Max Verstappen. Now, I've seen a few replays of this. They obviously were going for the lead, both of them. Norris was faster than Verstappen. Verstappen trying to hold on to first place, and it's honestly the actual incident that sparked. I mean, there were some questionable moves by both of them, to be fair. I mean, I think that Norris was very forceful in forcing Verstappen off the track before that, and vice versa as well. I think they were both as bad on one another, but relatively racing incidents. However, the one where they actually came to blows, that very much has to lay in the camp of Max Verstappen. 100% his fault for me. He got a 10-second penalty for it too. Lando Norris ended up retiring from the race. Verstappen still managed to finish in 5th despite that puncture. That tells you how quick he was during this race. But yeah, very poor. And the thing is as well, right? What you can't deny is the fact that Verstappen didn't need to make that move. He could have finished in 2nd place today, and yes, of course, he always has to win. I know that. That's what he wants. He's a competitive animal. He's a 3-time world champion. He's one of the greats of the sport, of course. But thinking with a bit more of an experienced head, someone who could actually look back at this and think, you know, whether he made a mistake or not, I think he'll look back and think he made a mistake here. Because he could have finished in second place today, and that would have been a lot of points for him still. As it is, he's finished in fifth, and there's very much a cloud over him going into Silverstone. So for me, 100% Verstappen's fault. Before that, it was 6-1, half a dozen the other. They were both as bad as one another in terms of the racing incidents for me. But yeah, the actual one where they crashed, 100% Verstappen's fault for me. But anyway, guys, I have gone on for long enough during this video. What do you think about the race? Let us know in the comments below. And of course, for all the build-up and reaction, well, all the build-up to the British Grand Prix, all the reaction to the Austrian Grand Prix, do keep it tuned here on the F1Chronicle.com. There's a lot more content from the Pinnacle Motorsport coming right up here.